Yeah, let's talk about. Do we want? You sure you want me to cross this intersection again?
Again?
British Open Golf has confirmed they've received documents from Turnberry, the prestigious historical course in Scotland that wants to get back in and host in the rotation of the British Open. The Royal and Ancient, which runs the British Open, pulled Turnberry out of the rotation because of the attack on the Capitol, January 6th. You know, the incident that was triggered by the president, Trump. They pulled it because Trump owns Turnberry. And they've never allowed that course to get back into the rotation to host the British Open. At this point, the RNA, Royal and Ancient, says it's not amenable to reopening negotiations, not just because of January 6th, because Trump pardoned those who were in prison who attacked all those police officers, pardoned them as, quote, patriots. So that's the latest there from the British Open. Speaking of golf, this is a really cool story. PGA, greatest modern-day amateur who never turned pro, has passed away. His name is Jay Siegel. You'd probably remember the name.
Yeah, the name sounded familiar when I read it this morning.
Two-time U.S. amateur champion, has passed away at the age of 82. He played at Wake Forest. He was a protege of Arnie Palmer. They wanted him to turn pro. He suffered an injury. He elected not to turn pro. He started a unbelievably successful insurance business in the Carolinas, stayed there, and played as an amateur his entire career. 9 times on the Walker Cup team as an amateur, played in the U.S. Open, British Open, Masters as an amateur, never turned pro. Jay Siegel, great player, but elected not to go after the big money and just to stay where he was. He's passed away at the age of 82. Last topic, soccer. Tell you what, this bears watching. Legendary U.S. coach Bruce Arena, who had coached the national U.S. team, has had enormous success in MLS, has ripped the U.S. Soccer Federation for the hiring of Mauricio Pochettino, the Argentinian, saying Pochettino, who does not understand the culture, the language, the style of play, the psyche of the American player, shouldn't be the coach of Team USA. Arena, beside himself, of the opinion, how the hell can Team USA, with all of its talent, lose to Canada and lose to Panama in the Nations League tournament, saying they're so far away from being ready to compete globally. A lot of people don't agree with Arena because Pochettino has had to deal with 2 different injuries to Christian Pulisic, ongoing injury problems with Gio Reyna. McKinney has had injury problems, etc. They think the criticism's a little bit unfair at this point in time because up until the Nations League, Pochettino had done a pretty good job, but now he's got a bunch of guys that are banged up. Arena says this is not the right guy. He had to hire an American coach, not somebody from abroad. And he said, you're building a national team. This is not like taking a club and trying to build a club team. You need a different approach because you're dealing with guys who are playing with all their own professional teams, and you're bringing them back in a short window to get them ready to play in a tournament. He didn't think that Pochettino's done a good job. So, John, you going to Turnberry? You want to talk about Jay Siegel? Talk about Bruce Arena. The podium is yours.
Interesting comments in this one here. So, the Donald Trump thing, when the president or the leader of a nation owns a golf club in another nation, it just creates complications like this. So I don't know. The British Open people are going to do whatever they're going to do and just let them do it. The story about the amateur golfer is interesting because in today's day and age, you rarely ever hear of a case of a guy just, killing it and as an amateur and choosing not to be a professional when the opportunity is there. Now, granted, back in his day, the money was a lot less,
yes,
but still. And then finally, as a USA soccer fan, we should not be losing to Panama. We shouldn't be losing to these little nations and granted it's in our own CONCACAF, but our second strings and third string guys should still be better than the amount of soccer talent you can get from Panama. I mean, so that's a fair criticism.
That bears watching as we go forward, just to see, Gold Cup coming up and all that. That bears watching just to see how Pochettino responds, how the players respond to Pochettino. Most of the positive comments, and a lot of the comments have come from Pulisic, have been very positive about this incoming coach, but Bruce Arena doesn't see it that way. Okay, we put a lot of topics on the table because we do sports talk the way it should be done. Now it's your turn to